Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Dalia Ceja, and in honor of the holiday season, we decided to host an online cooking competition. The winner is actually one of my dear friends, Liz Mazet. Liz, thank you so much for being here. We are delighted to have you. Why don't you give the audience a brief introduction of yourself and what you'll be teaching us to cook today?
Definitely. Well, I am very excited to be here, and it is a gorgeous day in Carneros. Today we'll be making one of my favorite dishes, California chicken noodle soup, or my version of it. I really enjoy this dish because it's super simple to make and it allows you to have fun with your friends and family while it's cooking.
Perfect. I can't wait to try it. Cheers.
Cheers.
So Liz, why don't you explain the ingredients we have in front of us?
Definitely. So with any chicken noodle soup, you definitely have to start out with the chicken. Today we have skinless, boneless chicken breast, and we trimmed off a little bit of the fat just to keep it healthier. The other base of our soup is the yellow onion, Roma tomatoes, and carrot. And then of course you need some noodles for the soup. Today we have wheat noodles, but you can really use anything from a spaghetti to a fettuccine. We're also going to be having equal parts chicken broth and water, and then the toppings. This is where it gets super fun. We have avocado, lemon, jalapeno, cotija cheese, and cilantro. As mentioned before, this is a super simple recipe. So for spices, all we'll use is salt, pepper, garlic, and a little bit of bay leaves. Another cool part about this recipe is the wine. Today I have chosen a Ceja Chardonnay. I really enjoy this wine and I think it goes great with this recipe because it's crisp and refreshing and it really brings out the unique flavors of this dish.
Absolutely, and that's actually why we chose your recipe, because it was a great combination of flavors. Okay, let's get started. So Liz, how many people does this recipe serve?
This recipe will serve between 4 to 6 people, and you can always add more ingredients or take some away depending on the size of your party. And the first thing we need to get started is, Dahlia, if you could pour the chicken broth into the pot of boiling water, and then get started on the chicken. And just trim off a little bit of the fat while I'm chopping the tomato.
Sounds good.
So for the tomato, I like to cut it in quarters like this, and then cut it in smaller pieces. And it's really up to you what you want to do. I like to use Roma tomatoes because the skin doesn't fall off, and you don't want a bunch of skin floating around in your soup.
Be careful while pouring it in because it can splash.
Yes, yes. Those are the hazards of cooking, right? Like mentioned before, these are skinless, boneless chicken breasts. You can also use chicken with bones on it if you want. We're going to end up shredding it in the end anyways, so.
And I put it in, correct?
Yeah, just throw it all in. I'm going to.
Be careful while you're putting the chicken breast
Yes, because it could splash.
Perfect.
I'm just going to throw these in also. So I'm going to get started on the carrots.
Perfect.
Yes, you just basically quarter this again in like half. You can really do it any way you want it, like in slices, or sometimes I just throw the whole carrot in there as well.
And now I'm going to start chopping the onion.
Yeah, just do like a rough, country chop, if you will.
Absolutely.
And, discard the skin and whatnot. So we're going to add a little bit of crushed garlic. I like, between 4 to 6 cloves, depending on what you like. Couple bay leaves, just like a dash of salt, and a dash of pepper, and we're good to go.
I can already smell it.
Smell the flavors, right? So this should take about an hour and a half, or longer if you want to just let it sit to cook. Stir it occasionally, and about an hour in, we'll start chopping up the toppings.
Sounds good. Let's go have some wine.
Yes.
So we're back. It's been about an hour. We've played a few games of bocce.
And drank a little bit of wine.
And now I believe we're ready to chop the toppings.
Yes, so the toppings are the funnest part of this recipe because it adds a lot of spice and flavors that you don't normally get in soup.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go ahead and chop them all up and put them in bowls so that your guests can apply as much or as little as they want. If you want to start with the cheese and tell us a little bit about it, I'll get started on the jalapeno.
Perfect. So the cheese that we're using is cotija cheese. It's a very traditional Mexican skim milk cheese, and it's perfect for crumbling, and it gives the soup a thicker consistency to it.
Yeah, and it adds a little bit of salt as well. You can also find this in like a package, and if you can't find cotija cheese at your grocery store, feel free to use any kind of crumbled cheese, like Parmesan or Asiago.
Absolutely, and I already had crumbled a little bit in the bowl, so we're just gonna cut off a corner to just show you, how it's done.
Yeah, feel free to use your hands and really get in there.
Absolutely.
So remember to cut the jalapenos very thin. I like to keep the seeds intact so that it adds a lot more spice. And if they're little like this guy, you can cut them diagonally so it's a little bit thicker pieces. And so while we're doing this, the noodles are on And the soup is just simmering away. After we're done chopping up the toppings, then we will shred the chicken.
So then I'm gonna start with the avocado. I'm just gonna slice it down the middle in half. Gonna remove the seed and just be really careful, but it should come out perfect. And what I like to do to make it a little bit easier and a cleaner cut, just slice through the middle in the heart of the avocado, almost in cubes. And then we're gonna use a spoon to scoop out the middle.
So I'll start on the cilantro then. What I like to do is just take a little bit of cilantro, roll it in a bowl, and then cut it. These don't have to be very small pieces. I mean, cilantro is just good. Remember to remind your guests that the jalapenos are hot and they are spicy.
Spicier the better, right?
Yes, spicy keeps you young at heart. That's what my mom always says.
Absolutely. But with the Chardonnay that we're going to be pairing it with, I think it will really cut down on some of the spice component.
Yes, and it will cool off your, your taste buds. And then you want to do the lemon?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So it's almost time to eat. We should start calling everybody in.
Sounds good.
Now we should just
Here we go.
check on the soup and the noodles, and then we should be good to go.
So we're almost done. All we have to do is shred the chicken, right?
Yeah, so this is basically the last step, and you want to remove the chicken from the soup with some tongs and let it sit so that it's cool enough to handle with your fingers. Then you just want to break it up into small pieces like so. And after, we're going to add all this chicken back into the soup when we start arranging it. Feel free to eat some along the way too, 'cause it's really good.
Pretty good.
So now all we're going to do is get the noodles and assemble the soup.
Last step, putting all of the ingredients together.
So we already have our noodles in the bowl, and we just want to ladle some soup in there. And then we could add the toppings, which is my favorite part. So you want to start out with the cilantro and make it go all the way around. Feel free to use a lot too. And then you want to put some avocado in the center, like that. And then some jalapenos around the outside. Just use our hands.
No, it looks so colorful and beautiful.
Yeah, it totally reminds me of Christmas, right? Yep. You want to sprinkle some cheese over the top. And some lemon. Just to give it that little extra touch of flair. Feel free to throw the lemon in it as well.
The more lemon, the better.
Yes. It'll actually cut down on the spice too, so.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Sure. Well, should we go enjoy this outside?
We definitely should.
All right, cool. So we're sitting outside about ready to enjoy the delicious soup that Liz just taught us how to make. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this whole experience.
It was a lot of fun, Dahlia. I can't wait till we do it again. And thank you for having me.
You are welcome back anytime.
Awesome. So let's eat.
Absolutely. But before that, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until the next time. Cheers.
Salud.